Hi, collective. Welcome in. This is going to be an early AM. What was I hearing? Just collective reading for all my Starseeds, right? I haven't done a Starseed transmission in a little while. I felt that this one needed to come through a little bit coded. I was investigating a lot of different things before I put this message together. Like, even when I was just starting to create it, I was already feeling a lot of the attacks coming this way, right? So this is going to be one where you get to kind of put together where you want to run with it, where you want to investigate different things. So I don't know. It has to do with a lot of like the spiritual warfare and the attacks that we've been seeing that are heavily coming through. I don't know. I was asking for a lot of protection for my family after putting this out, because the last time that I was trying to put out everything they wanted me to say about the dark high priestess and spiritualist, there was a lot of backlash that came after me, right? But like what I was getting to is like really like upping your spiritual protection, doing things, cleansing your energy, your space, your field more, because there's some of you like you need to be careful like where you're getting your spiritual supplies and stuff, that some of them might not actually be authentic. Okay, there's a lot of replicas and a lot of like just stuff that's being made in factories and labs and stuff for mass production that it's not actual authentic, you know. So this is what I'm finding out too, right? And for some of you, like you could be getting fake knockoff crystals, and they were giving me this too for, you know, this is where I don't want to upset like any of like my little business entrepreneurs that are creating their own oils, potions, all sorts of stuff. Like, you might need to be careful who you are purchasing supplies from. Are they using real products? Are they being very protective of their space while they're infusing their energy in it? Are they one where they're after it for mass production and making money? Right? So is the energy that you're getting off those products, is it authentic? Is it pure? Is it cleansed? Right? And it could also be like, where are they getting their supplies to? Because they're, you know, just there is a lot of like just like all the black smoke that is just heavily coming off of this as I burn it. Like each time, first time I get it, it's cleansing, very strong, the heavy energy around me, but I've already been burning this all morning. Every time I light it, it is lighting off black. Like it's not supposed to be like that, and this is supposed to be the Palo Santos, right? I'm not going to disclose where I got it from and things like that, but yeah, this set that I got is not burning it, and it's from a place that I've gotten it multiple times, but it's like it's not. So maybe for some of you, like those are things that you need to look into. Also, they were talking to me about like under this chaotic energy with a lot of spiritual attacks and stuff. Like I know like we've always used the moons to like cleanse a lot of our things, right? Because the moon's very cleansing. During these eclipse energies though, when we have these eclipse cycles, that is not a time to be out there trying to cleanse your stuff, right? And a lot of people don't know that, and they try to go cleanse their stuff under this chaotic energy, right? So you need to be careful about cleansing your stuff. You need to be careful about the messages, the downloads, and all of that. It's very important, and it matters a lot depending on the type of stuff that you're creating, the energy that you're pulling in on. Like it can very much affect too different, like as we know, like look at all the different tarot decks and stuff, you know, the darker decks, well, and the darker energies and all of that. And I was getting to like some of this stuff could be getting coded. I was talking about this before a couple months back about certain decks and stuff, certain frequencies that I noticed would change within certain readings, right? Just by like the energy that people would associate with certain cards, like the devil, right, and the things like that, and just some of the energy, because I kind of feel like the spiritual community and stuff, a lot of it's been infiltrated. What I was researching earlier today, because I noticed an attack that came through on me yesterday from somebody that I don't believe they realized that they were embodying heavy energy. Was I was looking up into dark shamanistic energies, like, are there dark shamans and stuff, and I was like, well, really, you're embodying the elements, right, a lot, so how can you be embodying these dark energies and not realizing it? Well, it's one of these, like, I'm trying to look for it now. I mean, you can look it up, dark shamans and stuff, if you're not realizing that you're embodying, you're harnessing the elemental spirits and the energies for, like, personal gain, for like, if it's in a way of, like, greed, control, you know what I mean? Like, I know some people are aware that they're doing that, but others, they could feel like they're so dedicated to, like, their spiritual journey and practice that they don't realize that they're being kind of hijacked, I like to say, instead of possessed, right? Because to me, like, when you're possessed, like, you can't really let go of that entity attachment. More when you're hijacked, it just kind of, they jump in and out. Like, for instance, like, I'll never forget when I very first got into tarot, and I actually started recording my channels this early on my older platform. Like, I used to think that when I got grabbed, I got the feeling of getting grabbed, that was Spirit's way of connecting with me. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that I was calling in my dark ancestors, okay? Now, some people don't realize that not all your ancestors are love and light, okay? You got to be careful who you're calling in, right? Because a lot of us have dark ancestors. So when I was calling in all of my ancestors and spirit guides, I didn't realize I was calling in my dark ancestors, and I was very much getting infiltrated, hijacked by the dark forces, right? And yeah, I was getting used for demonic energy, and it was almost like I was being a vessel for the dark side, right? So yeah, this is coming across, like, for some of you, like, you need to up your spiritual protection. You need to know that when you're calling in your ancestors or your spirit team, that you have protection around you, right? Like, to me, the cleanest way too is, like, white candles. White eradicates dark energy, kind of protects you, connects you. So that could be your first go-to thing if you're not sure if you're getting, like, authentic ancestors, Palo Santo sage, things like that, right? Is they very much do cleanse the energy, the space, and but candles, right? But be careful who you're calling in, right? Okay. So 8:08 on the clock, as I say that, 8:08's been standing out to me significantly. I just realized. So there's the message there, maybe for somebody, for me to call that out in this little update. Where else was I going? With cleansing your supplies, being careful who you're getting stuff from, upping your spiritual protection. Be careful in the stuff that's coming through, the electronic devices, the frequencies. They're really trying to roll out right now 6G, so they're already integrating and doing different things, okay? So for some of you, maybe you need to do more where you're getting out in nature, you're taking a break from electronics. I've been seeing a lot has been coming through too about putting phones in airplane modes, putting them in separate rooms, getting them away from you, taking breaks, powering down your Wi-Fi devices. That could be affecting a lot of your communications and transmissions that are coming through, because they are heavily trying to send things out to try to block these messages that are coming forth and coming through. They're really, like, trying to scramble a lot of the frequencies. As we know, they always have been doing that. But it's just they're really upping things lately. Where else am I getting? There's a lot of distractions that are coming through too, like with the hype, with everything that's going on, with the riots, with all of those things. Like, they're really trying to push, as we know, a lot of fear, a lot of things. but it's also a big distraction, and that's what people don't realize. Like whenever stuff is going on this wise, they're also rolling out the 6G. That's a big thing. That's why they're pushing another. I want to be coded how I put this so it goes out there. But that's why they're pushing another round of injections, another round of fear-based things, just like years ago. They're really trying to push that but I think a lot of people are not falling for it this time, but it's still like that's why they're upping a lot of things. Like this was all planned, right? Everything really does work simultaneously. Like it really is planned out. Like we don't give credit a lot for like these planned spiritual warfare, these attacks. Like the final part was to cause the biggest divide that they could against us, right? And to really get us to not come together and unite. They've always been trying to cause the divide, and that's when they really brought me back all the way to the very, very beginning. Today, I don't know when I was calling all my ascended masters who was sending this message to, but I was getting a lot with when I was talking about the shamanistic energies and the abilities, right, and using the elements and harnessing the energy, right, and I've been getting water bender energy a lot lately too, and then they were bringing me to Moses, right? And I was like, don't tell me Moses is a dark shaman, right? That was coming through, and I was getting a lot of apology energy, like so many had died, like that. It was almost like that it shouldn't happen, and I was like, well, what was that? The parting of the Red Sea, which Moses had done, was freeing the Israelites, right? From, I assume, a lot of like killing and things like that, but nobody ever really showed me, or I didn't see that when the water came back down, the amount of the Egyptians that didn't make it afterwards, right? And then it was kind of leading me to war and the attacks, and even though there was a saving, there was also a lot of mass killings that went on with that. And it's one of those things like, should that have been handled differently? Should that have been handled differently? Why am I getting this apology energy that was coming through? And then it was bringing me to these riots and thinking, like what is going to happen, like when we reach the point of, you know what I mean? Like people are going to stand up more than ever to protect their families, right? But what is going to happen when we reach the point of not being able to control that? Then it's like, then something big has to happen with like force and hurting others of trying to get domination and control, right? And know that, and it's like that was never the way to fix things, right? How is that unification when it's instilling the separation, and it's going to lead to destruction and killing and hurting of others, right? That's why it's like, even if we go way back, right? Back in those times, you know what I mean? Like, could it have been handled differently? Could Moses have been water bending and doing things to try to resolve a situation, but it was in the moment, it was in the passion, it was trying to stop everything, but it wasn't the right way to do that. Maybe that's why I'm getting a lot of the, you know what I mean, the apology energy that's coming through. And then why were the 10 Commandments then set upon right after? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but maybe it was also, do you think maybe it was brought to Moses for those very reasons? Like, I know you were helping, you were doing these things, but why? But do you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's why there needs to be full control over your emotional state before you have access to using these skills. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's why so many of us have to go through these harsh initiations to really master our emotions and control before we can have the power, the true power of being able to possess those powers as Moses did. Because as we all can very much be in control of the elemental energies when you master the emotions within the self, right? So you're either going to understand what's coming through or you're not, you know, take whatever you feel. I'm going to leave this one a little bit short though, because my family's going to be getting up and getting ready. But I said I'd give this out a little bit coded, right? So take what you would through the things. I wanted to get the thing out about protecting your energy, right? Remember, it's only like what you allow to infiltrate, what you allow to come through, but it's really just what does come through and trickle through. Just It impacts just your energetic frequency, so it could be stopping a lot of the communications, the downloads, a lot of the things that are trying to access you, your consciousness, your mind, right? A lot of these things, you know, just like what they're doing with the integration of the, let me talk about what they did with the integration of the 5G and the injections. You know, they were in tandem. They were working together. That's why what they were injecting you with was basically putting you online with the new towers, right? You do know that. Okay. Also, the metal strip within the mass. What were those for? Almost like walking antennas, right? People do not realize There was a lot to try to push off this, but it was really integration. Like I said, AI basically took over a long time ago. It was really integrating us in with electronics to be able to have mass control, right? And to disconnect us from being able to fully control ourselves. And that's why they're heavily weighting down all of the foods and everything with the heavy metals and all. That's all for integration for this electronic era, right? So, you know, the disconnecting, the more that you can, okay, from the tech. And I know that it's always, to me, I always feel like I'm being like contradictory, because as you're watching this through a device of some sort, right? But this is, you know, this is ways where we kind of use the electrical air, right, to still get our messages out there, to be able to communicate and connect and stuff like that. But it's just, you have to be careful, right, with like just how much you're connecting, how much you're watching. Like, definitely don't go doom scrolling. Don't go, you know what I mean? Be careful of how much you're integrating with electronics, with technology, with those things. Make sure that you're taking time to get out in nature. You're cleansing your auric field. You're using salt heavily. Like, how many of you just like bring your phone with you everywhere? Do you bring your phone in the bathroom with you? Do you bring your phone in to listen to music when you're taking a shower? Do you bring, you know what I mean? Like, are you taking time to put those devices down, to take breaks from them, where you're actually getting a lot of your true downloads, messages, receiving? Or is your mind able to slow down enough to actually be able to think your own thoughts? You know what I mean? Like, I was even looking at, like, so many people just don't even realize how much they're being controlled, and that they're following the masses and what people are doing. Like, I was actually looking up the commandments, right? Because I was like, which one was it where it's thou shalt not kill, right? I'm like, was that the first one? Because like my dad would always read that off like it was the first one or whatever, because that was the strongest one for him, I guess. But it was actually number 6. Okay, but anyway, like the second one, I was just like, oh my god. If you haven't looked at them, like, I don't want to get too much of that, but if you have not where people do not realize how much the worshiping the idols, the carved objects, anything representing the worshiping. Like, I just look around at this world, and what do I see? Everybody, the carving, everybody worshiping and looking. I don't want to get too much in that, but I'm just like, why does everybody not realize that they're going against the main second commandment? Like, do people not realize that? Like, I mean, these are the people that are heavily like into like their beliefs, and but they're going against. That's why I'm like, well, do people not realize, just because they see the people that are being the teachers, and they're the false idols that are really, they're the ones that are teaching this stuff, are doing it right in front of them and leading them down the path? Like, I'm really just starting to see so much like control, where people like are just like hypnotized. I'm just really starting to see how people are very much in a hypnotic state, and I'm like, and what is doing it so much that people aren't just like waking up, right, and realizing how much that they're being controlled, and they're not free for themselves, and harnessing their energy. All right, I guess that's my time. That's an alarm, so I'm gonna leave this little message here. I didn't even get into doing any cards yet, so I'm gonna do some cards and get some other messages and stuff, but this is just what I was getting through just when I was connecting with my guides this morning. All right, love and light to all of you guys. Bye.